Hello everyone, my name is Konstantin, I'm a full stack developer, and in this video I will continue working on my small progressive web application built with Solid.js, TypeScript and Firebase. Today I'm going to focus on two main sections. One is UI. I'm going to introduce a modern-normalize CSS library to include it into my project to make my web UI work and feel the same way in different browsers first of all, and also I'd like to reset some default browser styles with this library. I'm going to refactor the existing auth element of control which is used for logging in and logging out, and also I'd like to create a subscribe control which will be used for subscribing and unsubscribing from the push messages which are going to be sent through Firebase. The second part will include configuring Firebase Cloud Functions locally, creating a sub project for that, and creating a couple of Firebase Cloud Functions. First for subscribing to a topic, actually. Let me fix myself. And unsubscribing from a topic. Consider topic as a group, like a email subscription group, but it's for push messages. So I first subscribe all my users to one topic and then send a message to the entire topic. So it's kind of a group, as I mentioned, which is useful in my particular case because I'm going to send one message to all my users one day before the full moon, and another for one day before a new moon. So to implement the cloud functions locally, I will need to authorize my cloud functions emulator to be able to perform admin operations, because the operation of including into a topic or removing token from a topic is actually an admin operation. So I will need to get a key, admin key, and supply it to my application, to my function project to make it work with admin actions. So let me start from switching to the Visual Studio Code editor, and let me start from including modern-normalize library into my project. For that, I'm going to use npm install command modern-normalize. By the way, this library is also used by the Tailwind CSS framework, so it's quite popular. Now I can actually include it into my project. Let me go to the project page, modern, to see how to properly install it into my project. Okay. Yep. I think it can be imported through from a CSS file. For instance, index CSS. Let's see if it works. I'm going to run my project, and first I need to run emulators, and in a separate terminal session, I'm gonna run the build watch command. Let's wait until everything is run, and open the emulation, the hosted application in the local emulator. We can see that some styles are reset. For instance, we don't have larger padding in the for the sign in button. Yeah, it's more or less the same, so yeah, I think so. By 5 pixels from the right hand side and from the top, so we should be good. I think it's a good idea to include this normalize CSS into every project, unless you are using something like Tailwind CSS, which already includes this normalization approach. And also, by the way, Bootstrap also includes some normalization styles as well. So most of the frameworks, I believe, have something like this. So now, after adding modern-normalize CSS library, I'd like to refactor my authentication control. First of all, I need to remove this debug stuff from sign out button. Let me reload the page. And now I'm going to create a separate component file, call it AuthControl, and create a function here with the same name. And now I can actually export the default AuthControl from this file, so from this module. Now I'm going to return some stuff from this control. For that, I need to copy the entire element and import some stuff which is not yet imported. I need to copy the button click handlers, authentication buttons click handlers. I can import stuff here as well, which is already defined in a separate place. Good. Now you see that set user is not defined here, and user is not not defined here. We need to supply this as properties to this particular component. I will call interface AuthControl. Let me call it props for clarity. And first property will be user credential, and this property can be undefined, optional. Another property will be onAuth. Also, no, it cannot be undefined. We will explicitly define this function, which will be triggered on authentication action, either on login or on logging out. User credential, the same type. Also optional, because we need to keep it optional in case we want to log out the user. And here we can define props of this particular type. Actually, not the type interface. So now I'm going to use props set user, not set user, but on off method here. You may ask me why I don't want to deconstruct the props variable as we normally do in React. Something like this. Because in this case, the user will be passed as a value, not as a reactive property. So we won't be able to track the changes in this case. So I need to access this this method and this object through props actually. And the user also. I think it should be this. Now we can actually track the changes. At least I hope so. Let's try. I'm going to replace this part with my new component, AuthControl. And this component gets user signal, and also on off. I need to create a handler for on off. This will be a universal handler for handling authentication of two kinds, login and logout. I don't need it here. So here I'm going to pass the user, which is optional, user credential. Yep, and I can pass this handler to the on-off property. Saved the file, removed unnecessary imports here because we imported them right from the AuthControl component. Now I can actually check if it's working. Let me reload the page and use sign in button. It can be any email and any display name. Sign in, you see that the button becomes sign out, which is actually expected and desired outcome. So I click sign out and the button becomes sign in, which means that we track the changes, we track the user authentication status. As for this component, we are more or less good. I'm going to also create another component for subscribe button. You see this button here? It's actually a subscription button. Let me create a new component. I will just copy auth component and just rename it subscribe control. I will rename it here as well. Subscribe control, and I need to rename the properties. Let me just rename it in both places. Just iProps. Should be okay actually to have this name, because we only need it for in context of one particular component. So subscribe control. Okay. We also need handlers for subscription click And for unsubscription click, I will just remove this stuff for now to not confuse us. Let me have two buttons and not use the show helper here. Just two separate buttons. And one button will be subscribe. Another one will be unsubscribe. And the handler should be handle subscribe, click, and handle unsubscribe, click accordingly. Okay, let's keep props for now until we decide whether we need them or not. Now I'm going to use this control, but not at the bottom, not the in the center of the page, but actually here, right after the AuthControl. We already have handle save click, which content we can actually move to the subscribe control. I'm going to import. I don't need to import the authentication. I don't need to sign up user explicitly here, because this control is going to be visible to all authenticated users only. So I'm going to import get messages token function only, and this handler can be removed from here. I believe this button also. Okay, the thing is, they can use show helper here when then user, and fallback. We don't need any fallback actually. If the user is not set, we don't display anything. And now we can actually remove the props from here, because we assume that the user is already authenticated. Okay, we can close AuthControl here. Let's see what happens. I will just reload the page. We don't see any buttons here, but what if I authenticate the user? Yes, you see the subscribe button and unsubscribe button. The problem is they actually kind of on top of the authenticate control, and replace this control. I need to change the styles, the class name here. What if I just remove the class name from here for now, and instead of having a class for authentication control or AuthControl here defined here, what if I just remove it from here too, and just group these two controls in one panel, div class kind of actions. It will be a div which would group these controls together, and I can call it, I don't know, action. For now it's good. Let me create a new component for it. Action panel TS6 const action panel, and the action panel will actually get the same parameters as the AuthControl, because we need to kind of bypass this data to this new action panel. So let me just copy the props to the action panel. Return. And I'm going to return this to controls grouped. I need to import stuff also. Yep, the props here, user, and props here. On, off. Yep, I think I need to export this control component, actually, action panel. And this particular action panel will have its styles, and the styles will be similar to the styles of authentication control, because before that the authentication control was actually took place on a separate layer, right? If I take a look at the AuthControl here, I see positioning absolute, and also positioning to the top right hand corner. I will do it a bit differently. So this setup, this template supports CSS modules. CSS modules allows you to isolate classes, CSS classes, to specific context to keep the main global scope, CSS scope, clean. And I'm going to, let me just finish here. I'm going to define CSS module file for my action panel. Now I can close this and copy these styles, this class, to the new CSS module. Call it AuthControl, because it's better to call classes camel case, because they will be object properties. They will be turned to the object properties when we are going to use them. Import styles from action panel module. So you can now use styles as an object and access class names which are generated with random suffixes to clean up the global scope. Action panel. If I now try to run, I need to import this component first. Action panel, user, and on off, handle off. Close the component. Yep. Now I'm going to run. Going to close what I don't need and run, reload the application. You see the sign in button here. If I if I try to see the elements here, I don't see this class applied. Why is it so? Let's figure out. Action panel. I probably imported the styles to improperly. Let me see. Action panel. It's not AuthControl, of course, it's action panel. Yeah, I just copied it as is. Needed to rename it. Okay, some glitch here. Now you can see the sign in button again. What if I sign in? And you now see all the buttons. I'm going to improve styles a little bit. Action panel will be display flex. I wanted these buttons to be in one row. So flex direction, row, and yeah, I think I can reload the page and see what happens. Sign in, subscribe. Yeah, now you can see that they are placed in the same row. I need to add some padding between them because the buttons are different. Obviously, I need to separate first the AuthControl from the subscribe control. I'm going to create separate CSS module for AuthControl. Just copying AuthControl. Oh well, I can do it easier actually. I don't need a separate module, CSS module. What if I just set gap? Yeah, and set it to something like 5 px, 5 pixels. Reload the page. Yeah, it needs some time to rebuild the app, so we don't see any difference, right? Let me check what happens. The gap, it says invalid property value. Okay, let me check. Flex gap. Gap is used for not this one, it's tile language. We don't need tile language. Gap, yeah, my problem was that I used single quotes. I don't need quotes here because it's not CSS and JS, it's just CSS. I forgot how to write it already. Now you see some separation between buttons. We need even larger separation, so I'm going to set 10 pixels maybe. Yeah, I need to wait for some time. Yeah, it's good. And now I need 5 pixel separation between subscribe and unsubscribe button. For that, I'm going to copy the action module and create a module for subscribe control. It will be more or less similar. I'm going to rename the class name. Subscribe control. I'm going to remove positioning here. Let it be display flags and gap 5 pixels. I'm going to use it from the component. Import styles from subscribe control module, and styles can be applied here now. Styles subscribe control. Let's see what happens. yeah, now we have some separation between subscribe, unsubscribe button, and also sign out button. We can improve this control a little bit later. Don't need to focus much on it right now. I need to take care of the functional part, the logic behind subscribe and unsubscribe button. Let me close the files which are not necessary right now. So here I can actually rename this get messaging token function, because it actually gets the token and also subscribes, sends the token to backend to store it, and after that to subscribe the this particular token to a topic for messaging. So I'm going to rename this function to subscribe to topic. Okay, all right. I can actually remove this debug stuff from here because it's already tested, it's already working, and it has some error reporting and error handling here. What else I need here? I also need unsubscribe from topic function. It will look very similar. I can refactor it later on, but for now, what if I try to delete doc, import delete doc, and see how it should be used? Let me Google it. So I don't remember the exact syntax. This delete doc Firebase. Delete document, and I need to mention the explicit index ID. Okay, well, we can do it. And the registration file can be renamed to subscription. Actually, it would be better. So here it's very similar, except for passing the UID parameter, which we don't need here. And after subscribing to a topic, we are going to display a message, a success message, to the user. And I don't like the name errors. It also includes success, this helper. Let me rename it to messages. Not messages, actually. How to call it? Log? Call it log or not log? Notifications. I'm thinking about how to name it, because I already have some push notifications here. If I name it notifications, then it would be something somehow confusing. Let me name it toasts. Okay. Toasts should be better. Success. Subscribed successfully. Subscribe successfully. Okay. And I need to display unsubscribe successfully in the unsubscribe from topic, actually. From topic. Unsubscribe successfully. Okay. Now I can use these functions from the subscribe control. I'm already using subscribe to token here, which is good. I need to use unsubscribe from topic here. Unsubscribe from topic. Let's see if it works. For that, I need to open the emulator. Let me use the link to the emulator panel, local emulator panel, and Firestore emulator actually. Now there are no any collections created here, so which is good. We can start from scratch. I'm going to reload the application again, sign in the user first, and try to subscribe. Subscribed successfully. Good. Let's take a look what they have. You see the token is created, which is expected, which is good. Let me try to unsubscribe. Unsubscribe successfully. And you see that the, let me reload the page, the collection disappeared actually. I mean, the collection itself is here, but yeah, no, the collection disappeared together with the item, collection item, together with the document, which is good, which is what I wanted to achieve for this particular part, for this UI part. Now we have sign in, sign out control, and subscribe, unsubscribe. Controls working, integrated with the backend, with local emulation backend, which is good. The next step is working on the notifications a little bit more on the backend side. For that, let me switch to the emulator panel. You see the functions emulator here. We need to enable it. We need to initialize the emulator first of all, and also create a skeleton project for Firebase Cloud Functions. Firebase Cloud Functions is just serverless functions which are executed on Firebase. They don't have a, I mean, we don't configure the server itself. It's just run on using Firebase infrastructure as serverless function. Okay, let me close this. I need to stop the emulation. Use Firebase init command first. Choose functions. Configure a cloud functions directory and its files. This is my body, okay. And also emulators. I need to enable Firebase Cloud Functions emulator too. I press enter. Let's wait for a while. It asks me what language I'd like to use for cloud functions. Of course, TypeScript, because my main project is also TypeScript based. It asks me if I want to use ESLint to catch bugs, to check syntax, etc. To be honest, I don't need it. For now, I will just say no, I don't need it. It asks if I want to install dependencies for the functions project, because it created functions project here as in a subfolder. It's a separate project which should be built and executed separately from this particular the main project. So yes, I want to install dependencies for this sub project. Let's wait for a while. It should not be long. While it's installing, let me switch to a diagram which I prepared. This diagram separates my application to two parts, basically client and server. The server part is hosted on Firebase. It's basically Firebase services used from the client part. And I've actually implemented some parts here. I implemented requesting permission, user permission, and token. I implemented user authentication. I implemented saving token on backend, and also now removing token from backend. During this particular video, during this particular tutorial, I actually implemented removing token as well. But anyway, Firebase Service Worker is actually receiving messages, push messages from Firebase Cloud Messaging. And today, let me just switch the slide. Today you see that I plan to remove the token, to implement removing the token, which is already implemented, by the way, as I mentioned. And now I need to implement two cloud functions. First, for subscribing to a topic, subscribing a token to a topic, and unsubscribing a token from a topic. Topic is basically, if I not mentioned yet, it's a group which is used for sending messages to many tokens, to many clients. Very useful when you don't need to send it in a loop, because Firebase loops have some limitations. As far as I remember, you can only send messages at once to 500 receivers, 500 subscribers, while you can message many more users through topic. But sending to topic is not real time. I mean, it can take some time to send messages to topic. It's not mission critical for us to have real time messages to the user. We can actually wait. Users can actually wait maybe 1 hour more until receiving the token. It's okay, totally, in our particular context. So I prefer using the topic here, sending messages to topic, rather than sending messages to each particular token in a loop. It's performance-wise worse, and also has some limitations. Okay, let's switch to the Visual Studio Code again, and it now asks if I want to install additional emulator. I do. I need to install functions emulator in addition to the emulators I already have here. It asks me for a port. I don't care about the port really at this point. Would you like to download the emulators now? Of course I do. So now it actually added a record about the functions emulator inside the Firebase JSON file, which is expected. And also, if I run emulators right now, it should display the new emulator, should run the new functions emulator. Let's wait for a few seconds. Yep, and you may see here that a new record occurred, functions, and it also should be available through the Firebase emulator suite. Functions emulator is enabled here, so you can see the log messages. It actually complains about not being able to run the index.js, which is not yet actually created, because we need to build this project from TypeScript to JavaScript for this file to appear. So what I'm going to do now is to stop emulators for a while, create a separate command here to build this functions subproject. Functions build, right? Okay, and here I'm going to cd to the folder called functions. Functions. CD means change directory, you know. This is, I think Linux command and also universal command, and for Windows also CD change directory command, I mean. So here I'm going to npm run build, build the functions project, build the TypeScript to JavaScript. Let me run this. Npm run functions build. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it complains about some imports. Let me see. See, index, TS, and some default includes. Just for demo purposes, they provided some logging, some stuff here. So I'm going to actually uncomment this function. I won't need response sent because I'm not going to use HTTP triggers. I just need Firestore. This is exactly what I need. Not exactly, actually, I need to change it a little bit. Let me on document create. Yeah, I need to import it first. I will explain that to you in a minute. Give me a minute to on document create, and here do you mean on document created? Of course I mean that. And this stuff actually receives document name here. I need to mention explicitly the document name in my case. So what I'm going to do now, I'm creating a event handler. I'm creating a document created event handler which would track creating a record in the VCM token collection here. I will show you now. Oh no, I cannot do it. I should run emulators first. Let me reload the page when it's run. Okay, it's going to be run now. Yeah, good. Okay, well, first the error message they saw here, it doesn't here anymore because we have the once built the project. Now we have index.js here in lib folder of the functions subfolder, which is good. We are ready to develop functions for subscribing to topic and for unsubscribing to topic. I already started to explaining to you what I'm going to do. Let me get back to the scheme, my diagram here. So Firebase Firestore is used for storing tokens and later messages themselves. When I create a document in the tokens collection, FCM tokens collection, an event is actually fired. So the event is called onDocumentCreated. We can actually subscribe to that event through Firestore Cloud Functions, and which I already started to do. I'm going to subscribe to the onDocumentCreated event here, mention explicitly the document, the collection name actually, token, and token here, and this event will have params. This token, the collection ID, the document ID will be passed as a parameter to this event. So let me const event, let's call it token, event params token. So now we have a token passed when creating a document in the VCM tokens collection. Now we need to subscribe this particular token to a topic. We don't yet have a topic. Let me just remove these comments. I don't need them right now. Let me create a constant which will store our topic name. Topic. The topic name will be something like new full moon notifications. Moon notifications. Actually, I want to make it more specific, like full new moon notifications, in case if later on I will have more notification types, more notification topics. Notifications, I have a typo here. So yeah, we have a topic name here. What we need to do right now is to actually import admin object from Firebase admin and use await. Yeah, I think here should be async await admin messaging, and from messaging I'm going to call subscribe to topic, in which I supply the topic name, the token name, which I'm going to subscribe to the topic, and the topic name. Yes, and what's going to be the response? Okay, the response is going to be, let me check how to handle errors properly in this particular case. Yes, so this response object has errors array, which actually contains all the errors as an array, obviously, and it has failure count, so we can actually check if this failure count is 0, then everything is okay. But if the failure count is not 0, we need to display some they need to log this error, right? Basically, failure count is more than 0, then we are going to log all the errors available. For each error, and I'm going to use this logger error object, and also I'm going to try catch in case anything else happens except of the standard handled errors. It's a good idea to do it. Catch, okay, try catch, and if anything bad happens here, I just log the error as well, and error. Can I call it more explicit, like could not to the topic, and the param is going to be like token and topic. Okay. not sure if it's a good idea to actually leak this data to the log, but I'm okay now. It's kind of a demo application, and I think I can improve it later if I need it. If we met any error, if any error has occurred, I just return with some error messages, right? But the error message itself is this. The list of error messages will be displayed here. I just need to also to make the message more explicit. Okay. Okay, I can save the file. And what else here? What should I do here? I think we are good here, more or less. And the function name is going to be something like subscribe to topic. Let me build this project. First, I'm going to stop the emulators and build the project. The function subproject, basically. Let me close stuff which is not needed anymore. Yeah, this subproject is built. I can run emulators again. Go to the emulator suite. Yeah, let's wait for a while. Need some time to process to start the emulator again. Obviously, the more emulators you have, the longer it's being run, right? The more time it needs to run, actually. So, functions emulator. The log of functions emulator says that Firestore functions initialized. It loaded function definitions for subscribe to topic, which is good, which is expected. What if now I subscribe? What if now I create token in the Firestore emulator, Firestore database? For that, we need to run the application. It's actually run, which is good. I will just reload the page, sign in the user again. Something happened. Yeah, I need to create a new user again. Example.com, I can sign in. And if I use subscribe button here, I will automatically create, not automatically basically, but I will create a document in the VCM tokens collection, which in its turn will trigger subscribe to topic Firebase cloud function. Let's try. I use subscribe successfully. The token is created in the database. Let's go to the functions emulator and see what's the console output. It says could not subscribe to the topic. And the message here, could not subscribe to the topic, okay. Error, entry from arguments. Yeah, it actually doesn't say anything to me, right? It just message that it could not subscribe to the topic, okay. I know what happens. I need to authorize my local Firebase cloud functions emulator to run admin stuff locally. For that, I need to generate Firebase Cloud Functions token API key. Firebase let me Google it. Functions run locally. Run functions locally. The documentation should instruct me how to do that. This is the guide. Open the service account page. I open the service account page. I need to select a particular project here. Test push second. And the user here, admin user here, test push second. And the actions has the menu item says manage keys. Open it. And here I have a key generated. I will just remove it to show you how to do it yourselves. Add key, create new key, JSON format. Let's create a new key. Okay, it's created. It's actually pushed to my download folder. I'll just copy stuff from my download folder and put it to the folder which is a parent folder for the Ashtangam on Solid project, because I don't want this key to be committed to the Git repository, and it should be supplied through the environment variables, I think. So we need to keep it safe. For this demo part, I will be just storing it on top of my project folder. So let's close this part. And how to instruct the Firebase emulators that the key is located in the folder beyond this. I need to set these environment variables when I run Firebase emulators actually. So I'm going to supply this environment variable, and here I need just single quote because the entire command is double quoted. Okay, I need to mention explicitly the path to the file here. Home goes desktop, projects Ashtangam on Solid, and the file name is let me copy it because it's kind of random. So this way I will instruct my local Firebase Cloud Functions emulator that I have permission to run the admin actions inside Cloud Functions locally. So for that I need to rerun the emulator again. Yeah, it warns me that I should not use it. I should be very careful in using that because, yeah, the key. But I needed to test this stuff, so to test these functions because they use admin functionality, admin actions. Let me try and repeat the same scenario. Subscribe and unsubscribe. But first, I'm going to remove the collection. It's already removed actually, so which is good. I don't need to reset the database because it's reset every time I rerun the emulators suite. Let me create a user again. and try to subscribe to the topic, to the messages. Subscribe successfully. The token added to the Firestore collection, which is good. Let's open console. Yeah, it says file to read credentials from file. No such file or directory. Let's check the path. Maybe the path is not correct. Oh, of course, the path is not correct because I put it one level beyond the Ashtanga Moon Solid project. So I need to restart emulators again. You may see that the function is pretty simple. It just subscribes the received token received from the event handler and subscribes it to the topic, which is pretty straightforward. The error handling can be improved or refactored. I can leave it for a later point, but for now I'm okay. So the Firebase emulator suite is rerun. I can open Firestore and see that no collections added. It's clean setup. Reload the app. Reload one more time. Something happened. Sign in. Create a user. Sign in this user, okay, and now I'm going to subscribe. I received a message. Let me see if the token is added to the database. Has been added, yes. It's been added. Functions, emulator. Okay, the message, what does it say? Full new moon notifications. It's the same error message, but now it's actually okay. I know what happens. I probably didn't rebuild the functions project. Let me open another terminal session and try to rebuild functions project. Build. What happened? Functions, yeah, just a typo here. Let's hope that the functions emulator will be able to catch the changes. I will just use the reset button to not reload the emulator again. Let's see. It found subscribe to topic function, which is good. I think it's ready to receive data, but because I didn't reload the emulators, I need to remove this collection from here manually for a clean experiment. Okay, let me reload the app, sign in the user, and try to subscribe. Subscribe successfully. Reload the Firestore emulator. You see the collection is not empty anymore. The document document edit. Go to the Firebase emulator suite and see what do they have here. Could not subscribe to the topic. Okay, let me look at the function itself. Could not subscribe to the topic. Topics, Revit, token, topics, words. Okay, this is probably this one, right? This function could not subscribe to the topic. Let me just change the message to see the exact problem. Error. During subscribing. What's wrong? Okay, see, missed. Okay, good. Okay, failure count greater than 0. We display errors. Okay, try catch. Token. Yeah, the document created. I'm not sure what happens actually here and what's wrong. I have an idea. I think I need PubSub emulator enabled as well. PubSub emulator allows us to subscribe to topics actually. It's a separate component of Firebase set of components, set of services. Let me try to add it and see if it helps. I'm going to run Firebase init again and add additional emulator. It's called PubSub. Not obvious necessity, but it's probably useful. PubSub emulator will use 8085 protocol number. Would you like to download emulator? Yes, I do. I would. So, and now I can run emulators again. Let's hope it will fix it can fix the problem. And here I'm going to rebuild the functions project again. Yep, it's rebuilt. The emulator is run. Let's check that the PubSub emulator is enabled as well. Yes, it's enabled and available on port number 8085. And it should be automatically picked up. Let's see, Firestore emulator. Let's repeat the same sequence of steps. Authenticate the user. And now subscribe to messages. Says subscribe. The token is created in the database. The functions emulator. No, it still says that, yeah, something wrong here. And I don't know what happens actually. Entry for marks. Let me see. Object base, this tag trace here. Firestore, why functions emulator runtime? Firebase tools. I think it can be a problem of local emulators here, but not sure. Functions emulator runtime. Well, couldn't subscribe to the topic. Hard to say. What? Let me reset, just in case, And I'm going to remove the collection. The trigger actually is functioning well. When I create a collection item, the document, it actually triggers the function, which I wanted to achieve, right? Triggering function. For some reason, the function itself doesn't work, but yeah, the trigger itself is working fine. So let me try it again, just one more time. Firestore emulator. The collection is created. Functions emulator. The same here. The error message. Okay, well, I'm not going to investigate it right now. I'm probably doing something wrong, or it's a local emulator issue. It's actually displayed in the console as well, but I'm not sure what does it mean actually. I actually gave all the permission necessary, and yeah, no idea. And the parameters should be good. Yeah, everything should be fine. Let me create another functions, unsubscribe function, and just check that it's triggered. Maybe it won't be working, but it will be triggered on document deleted. Okay, the same, almost the same, but here the function is called unsubscribe from topic, and the parameters are the same. So if anything happens, if any error happens, we display it to the console. An error has occurred during unsubscribing from the topic. Could not unsubscribe from. As I mentioned, we will be able to refactor it later on. Let me rebuild the functions project and make sure that the new functions created picked up by the emulator. I need to reset here. It actually complains about node version. Okay, I need to fix this node version. It's probably explicitly mentioned in the functions subproject here. Yes, it mentions, let me just do something like this, more than 20, because the main project, I have node 20 in the system by default enabled, so yeah, it should be better now. I need to rebuild the project again, I think. Yeah, it's rebuilt. Let me reload this emulator. Yes, now you can see that the warning about node version disappeared, and we now have two functions available for calling. Let me try to do the same sequence here. Subscribe. Firestore emulator, we have a token here. Functions emulator, it's not called because it's already created, so we should not create a new document in the collection because it's already created. We don't need to register it, obviously, so that's why we don't need to subscribe, and they also don't need to subscribe to the topic because we assume that the user, the token has been subscribed already by that moment. So, but I can still unsubscribe. And let me check. Unsubscribe topic. Could not unsubscribe from the topic. The same message, right? The same message. It's something unreadable, something not very clear. But we can see that the cloud function is triggered, right? I'm not going to debug any longer here. I just wanted, in this particular video, I wanted to show you how to create Firebase cloud functions. Let me get to the agenda, initial agenda, and just quickly mention what I did. I actually included modern-normalize CSS classes, styles actually, to reset browsers styles, default browser styles, and make them the same in all modern browsers. I refactored authentication control, and I added subscribe control. They are not ideal, but still they are usable. And I actually created a wrapper component, a panel, action panel, which includes all of them, and display them on a separate layer of the layout. As for notifications, I initialized functions subproject. I created two Firebase Cloud functions, subscribe to topic and unsubscribe from topic. They actually called by adding and removing documents from the Firestore database. As for removing, I will just show you that the token is removed and after pressing unsubscribe, right? So yeah, the functions themselves are triggered. The problem with the functions is not yet known, so I need to debug and investigate further. I will do it myself and then let you know how I can fix it. And I actually authorized Cloud Functions emulator to run admin actions. Here, for instance, I needed to subscribe to the topic and unsubscribe from the topic, which two actions are basically admin actions. So I needed those permissions to be given. So yeah, I think I've done for today. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to show you something even more interesting next time. See you. Bye.